unfamiliar with the sport. For a smaller player, the sheer force of the spin he produces, those RPMs, usually kicks the ball far above your shoulders, making it impossible to control. But keep a careful eye on Eala. She won't concede even a single inch. The shock aspect we stated in the title is right there. She was camped out 2 or 3 meters behind the baseline in earlier Academy footage, merely attempting to withstand the intense hits in this video that went viral. That baseline is what she is stuck to. She is using her advantage as a southpaw to attack the ball early on the rise. Remember that she shares Rafa's left-handedness, which helps counteract those cunning cross-court angles. Rafa hits a high, looping ball deep to her backhand wing at the 15-second mark, marking a critical split second. Eala advances, cuts through the geometry of the court, and launches a winner down the line. When the camera pans to Rafa, he simply freezes. He gives a nod. He smiles. And people, that one nod is worth 1,000 hours of coaching fees. The ultimate seal of approval is that. The video then cuts to an online conversation. The internet investigators went crazy at this point. We watch as Rafa's hands become animated. He is pointing OHS hip rotation while mimicking a follow-through motion. Later, in an interview, Alex acknowledged that the legend was adjusting her forehand drives technique. However, we must question WH. The lasso whip forehand, which is similar to Rafa's, has long been Eala's strongest weapon. But with the pressure was on, we seen that shot falter a little during her Grand Slam exits in 225. T began to flatten out excessively. Rafa probably noticed this and intervened to help her add that extra 10% of heavy topspin, which keeps the ball inside the lines even when your nerves are completely shot. The still images that were released with the video convey a story that is equally compelling. Point 1. Picture shows them laughing together while lounging on the bench with towels wrapped around their necks. It is a significant divergence from the Academy's typically rigorous military-style discipline. It indicates a major change in the balance of power. She is now a peer rather than only a student. Athletes in the top 50 include her. Her place on that bench is well-deserved. This clip became viral because it symbolizes validation, not merely because it featured well-known faces. Witnessing the King of Clay treat their champion as an equal is a unique emotional high for the Filipino faithful. But it is the stuff of nightmares for the commentators who are dissecting the game. Just as she reaches her zenith, picture a southpaw prodigy. WH has been forged in Nadal's fire and is now honing her craft under his close supervision. We need to go back to the 225 season in order to fully understand the intensity of this matchup. That point, the entire script was turned upside down. Alex was stuck in that merciless limbo between tours, drifting outside the top 100 when he entered the second 1025. When it came to accumulating wins on the big stage, she was unable to catch a break despite dominating the lower leagues. In the darkness, the skeptics were already beginning to whisper. Was she another prodigy of burnout? Not big enough. Then came the Miami Sunshine. The Manicure miracle will go down in history as the Miami Open, which took place in 25 years. Eala entered through a wild card, appearing to be the lamb sacrificed on paper in each and every round. The switch then flipped. She started by taking down Katie Volinets, which was a neat, expert job. She then pulled off a huge upset by shocking Yelena Ostapenko, surprisingly surviving the Latvian's renowned powerful hitting by destroying Madison Keys, a legend of American hard courts. She hushed the home fans. Then came the quarterfinals, where Alexandra Eala and Iga Swiatek faced off in a match that undoubtedly had Rafael Nadal riveted to his television back in Mallorca. The plots of this conflict were so dense that they could be sliced with a knife. The world number 2, 5-time major champion, and, wait a minute, the VIP guest at Alex's own graduation ceremony was Swiatek. Iga and Alex were really on stage celebrating together with caps flying in the air just 2 years prior. The politeness had vanished, and in its place was a brutal battle for a spot to the semi-finals at the net. Eala played with ice in her veins, shredding the script. In addition to securing victory 6-2, 7-5, she closed it out. The first Filipino to defeat a top 5 giant and go to the Final Four of a WTA 1000 tournament made history. Rafa Nadal took on social media right away to say, "Alex, you have our utmost admiration. What a fantastic competition, let's continue to dream." The first spark was that digital message. But this video of the reunion? That is one hell of a fire. But there was more to 2255 than just clear skies. The heartbreaking final loss to Maya Joint at Eastbourne, where Eala genuinely had championship points, cannot be disregarded. She almost held the trophy in her hands, but it slipped out of her grasp. It was heartbreaking to watch her cry during the presentation. But who was the first to raise her chin? Rafa. All he said in public was that it was just the first final of many finals. The backstory is important. From the devastating troughs of Eastbourne to the soaring peaks of Miami, the Academy has been on the roller coaster with her. She was a battle-hardened soldier who proudly wore her scars when she returned through those doors this winter, surprising everyone with her sharpness. The Rafa Nadal Academy itself is the unspoken issue that needs to be addressed. It may appear to be a casual rally when you watch that viral video, but in reality, you are seeing a powerful institution in action. When Alex Eala was 12 years old, she began packing for Spain. Can you imagine the mental strain of such a choice? The Philippines' home cooking, family affection, and tropical warmth are traded for a rigid dormitory in Manacor where perfection is expected. Their system is effective, as evidenced by this trending moment. They are teaching the art of suffering, not just coaching techniques. How much pain can you endure between the lines is the foundation of Rafael Nadal's entire philosophy. That footage. Zoom in on Eala's footwork. She makes those little tweaks even while she's not using it. Chop, chop, chop. The Academy is known for that. Tony Nadal's psyche is resonating with the voice. It is the reward for thousands of grueling hours in which giving up was never an option. The staff was astonished by the scary speed of her evolution more than her skill, which they already knew she possessed. It typically takes 3 to 4 years to make the journey from the junior circuit to the top 50. Eala. In just 18 months of consistent, injury-free tennis, she shattered that timeline. We also need to discuss the Southpaw secret sauce, which is the foundation of this academy. You're looking at the house that the Southpaw goat, Rafa, built, after all. Take a look at Casper Ruud, another alumnus who can demolish rocks with his forehand, a lefty with a rock-solid two-hander who controls play with that forehand. Eala is the ideal female prototype for the system. Frame by frame, the biomechanics of her next to Rafa in this video aren't only. We're back in business, so get together, courtside addicts and Dark Horse Revolution enthusiasts. This isn't your typical post-game analysis. Listen, we are analyzing a single flashpoint that just rocked the sport as a whole, so forget about the leaderboards, an incident that turned Manacor's dusty red clay into the epicenter of a virtual cyclone. Your feed has been taken over, unless you have been hiding under a rock for the last 48 hours. You've seen the videos, you've gazed at the pictures. In just a few minutes, the engagement metrics rocketed vertical as the Rafa Nadal Academy delivered the bomb. The comments area has absolutely gone haywire, and we are seeing view counts in the millions and share buttons being slammed thousands of times. Tio described this as a surprise? That's the millennium's understatement. This is an evolution, not a surprise. And I'm not referring to gowns and caps. We spent 2,023 hours covering that occasion. No, this is how an apprentice becomes an apex predator. In the aforementioned video, 20-year-old Filipino sensation Alex Eala is riding high after a historic 2.5-year run in which she broke into the top 50, defeated titans at the Miami Open, and won Southeast Asian gold. She is currently facing Rafael Nadal, the king of clay himself. Rafa volleying with cadets is something we have all seen before on those courts. It is a customary practice. Usually, it's a courteous exchange in which the master amuses the student by giving a nervous youngster easy balls. It was war. The world was taken aback by the violence of the footage that went viral on the internet. Eala is out there mimicking the man across from her with forehands that are laden with enough topspin. And on the other side of the internet? Rafa is scurrying, not jogging lightly. With his hands on his hips, the 22-time Grand Slam legend pauses and looks down at the young challenger with the respect of a rival rather than the eyes of a mentor. Below the post was the text, a memory that will last forever. The implicit message, however, was much louder. It announced that the Academy's most valued export had returned home. She came to show off her strength, not to return to take notes. What caused this to blow up? Why is one training session more important than 100? Because, people, the secret sauce is the backstory. We are seeing a warrior from the Philippines, a country without a tennis dynasty, who only a few years ago entered that school as a shy 12-year-old. She left her family behind. She stepped out of her haven. The grind on that Spanish mud was worth her adolescence. And now? She returns as a serious contender for the Grand Slam. Because the story, the titan in his twilight facing the emerging phoenix, is pure poetry. The web is collapsing. They are passing the torch in real time. As seen by the heated discussions at the net when Rafa is angrily breaking down a forehand mechanic and the stills of them laughing, let's also acknowledge the shock aspect in this situation. Rafa's skill was recognized by the coaches, personnel, and even herself. After all, they designed her game. However, nobody foresaw the brutality she let loose in Manacor this winter. She didn't come for a reunion by plane. To clock in, she flew in. It is clear from the shot speed, footwork, and psychological armor that the 2.5 seasons shaped her into someone new. She changed after defeating Iga Swiatek in Miami. She was transformed by breaking inside the top 50. One reason this movie is so popular is that it provides concrete evidence that the system does, in fact, fulfill the dream. A warning shot, however, is fired across the bow of the entire WTA Tour if you look closely. Alex Eala no longer requests permission. The up-and-coming label is over for her. Her purpose is to take control. So, buckle up. Frame by painful frame, we are going to analyze this footage. The expert technical adjustments Rafa was making to her game are being deciphered by US. In order to make this meeting conceivable, we will go back in time to her 2000-plus season and all of its craziness. We're talking about the statistics, the mental battle, and what comes next. From the heartache in Eastbourne to the triumph in Miami and that historic run. This is the thorough analysis you have been pleading for. It tells the story of how Alex Eala won over the King of Clay, shocked the Academy, and raised the stakes for the entire tennis community. To get started, we must first look at Exhibit A, the video that started this complete firestorm. First sight, the late-night European time drop appeared to be just another standard practice reel. Don't be duped though, the intricacies conceal the magic. The audio is the first thing that strikes you. Take a moment to close your eyes and pay close attention. 2 years ago, the sound of the ball blasting off Eala's racket was a whole different animal. It's more substantial. It enters the court. Additionally, the footage shows her and Rafael Nadal exchanging cross-court forehands. Rallying with Rafael